And that's how we basically designed the mixer. We wanted to keep all the ergonomics that you get out of your DJ mixer. So it looks exactly like a 4-channel analog mixer because it feels that way. And we wanted it to feel that way. But what we did was we took this section right here, which is basically your presets and your navigation tool, and we integrated that. So now as a DJ, when you want to scroll up and down tracks and load them, I just scroll through this and then I load tracks A or B. The way my mixer is set up, and I'll show you in a minute, I've got some audio on 2 of the tracks and I've got effect on the other tracks. But if I wanted all 4 audio, I could do that. If I wanted to switch between effects and audio by using that, I can do that. If I wanted this to be an effects knob or a scratch wheel, I can turn this literally into a scratch wheel. And so it's just that user-friendly and customizable. And then when I start plugging in with the deck, I have the ability to do basically everything on a cross-platform that will allow me to turn one knob on one device and it'll send that message to every other device at the same time. So the deck itself, it's basically an ultra-high torque platter. It's a 10-inch customizable as far as the torque is concerned. It is a full velocity sensitive pads down here at the bottom. I've got rotary encoders up here at the top. I've got a full preset section, so out of the box, no matter what DJ software you have, you'll be able to just plug this thing in and hit a patch, basically, that will map it out and get it to do exactly what you want it to do. And it has a motorized fader. So when I switch from one deck to the next, the fader will actually jump into that position. So we've thought of things that software manufacturers hadn't even thought of yet. Because now, Tractor, Serato, Decadence, Mix5s, all those guys are developing software to actually send output messages from the software to this type of gear. So it will actually move the fader, and so that you can do velocity sensitivity on samples and cue points and stuff like that. So just imagine taking all of your favorite pieces of gear. If you just go on a shopping spree and nobody was in the store and you could just have anything you wanted for free, but you can only get 5 things out of here, what would you pick? Pretty much everybody in here would probably pick about at least 2 or 3 things the same, but then 2 or 3 things completely different. Well, imagine having that, basically that capability, but now you have one device that can appease everyone in here, no matter what software you have, no matter what kind of DJ you are. And that's what we were going for. So we did 2 separate units because we didn't want to do the all-in-one toy-like system. We wanted a ultra-high torque platter that gave you a full size. 10 inches, it's pretty much the size that most DJs will actually work on. Even if you scratch with the outer side of the wheel, it's literally only an inch removed from the platter. So instead of a 12-inch, you've got an inch off of each side, which makes it a 10-inch. It's an ultra-high torque cast aluminum platter. I've got a real piece of vinyl and a real slip mat. It's an ultra-high torque platter. It's not just some piece of plastic with some spray on it to make it look metal. Okay? I'm sorry if I offended anybody, but it's not. I can't tell you. This is cool, but it's not a real platter. And that's the problem I have with anything that, especially if it's a device that's motorized and it's supposed to spin, it's supposed to be like vinyl. I want it to be exactly like vinyl. That's the only reason why I started using Final Scratch, because it was still vinyl. So we took all those things and we just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that this is not your typical controller. It's universally compatible. It works on Macs, PCs, any DJ program that will allow you to do a MIDI learn or have MIDI controller capability. If you got a keyboard that has a FireWire on it, you can plug this thing in and control your keyboard. Okay, it's that detailed. For video guys, I tell them turn the deck sideways. I use the fader as my cross fader. I use these to trigger the different screens. I use this to turn on my effects. Now you've got a video controller for any video software that has MIDI capability. So I'm going to actually stop blabbing so I can show you exactly what it does. But just to give you a quick overview, this is like US pricing on it. Pretty much this is what you would be getting out of a one deck and one mixer solution, because with programs like Tractor, you have 4 decks now. And you only really need one deck to control those 4, because you can switch through. When you switch, everything's going to change and map along with what you're doing. If you're more of a producer guy and you got MPCs and controllers and effects processors and an audio hub and all of that, now all of that can be solved by 1 or 2 pieces of gear. We've got a lot of Ableton guys that have been like just drooling over this, because Ableton's probably one of the easiest programs to go in and just do a MIDI learn. when you plug this thing in, for those guys who really know Ableton, this will actually replicate as a Mackie Huey. It does not know the difference between a Huey board and this board. So you could easily do 16 tracks, whether you're using Ableton, Logic, Reason, even Pro Tools. It will actually run like a 16-channel board, and you get to do whatever you want. So this is kind of what the controllers look like now. And not to knock it, because eventually we're going to do one of those. We're going to do a little all-in-one, cost-effective solution for the PC DJ who's afraid to, or can't afford to, go pro on it. And for them, you can actually just run with the mixer by itself. Anything I do, I can actually just do with the mixer by itself. And I'll show you the way I have mine set up. It pretty much does that for you. So actually now I'm going to go ahead and start pretty much hands-on and show you. So I don't know if you can see the screen over here, but
remember that when I'm in the building, it's cool for you to rush in. Remember, I'm too hot. Remember that when I'm in the building, it's cool for you to rush in. Remember, I'm too hot to touch it. Curious, 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 curious. Niggas doing this. See through motherfuckers will never be equal. I banish and make you vanish and do it for the people. I be the fantasy when I spit, I become the fantasy killer until the blood of seep through. So if you want